It is truly remarkable what you can do in short order in the NFL. All it takes is the right coach. And that's what the New England Patriots did. Drake Maye out the door, 4 wins. Horrible season. Team was just not in sync and it wasn't working. What do? Bring in former player Mike Vrabel, who's had success at the NFL level. And as he was putting together his staff, he brings back former offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. Maybe he's not the best head coach, but he's a good offensive coordinator. And what did that do? It worked wonders for Drake Maye. Now, Drake Maye is entering year 2, still a young player in the NFL, but he's entering year 2. In year 2, things kicked up a notch. 17 games played, 4 more than the season before. How good was it? Here it is. 72% completion percentage, 4,394 yards, averaging 8.9 yards. He's got 258.5 yards per game. He had a great 31-8 touchdown to interception ratio, a great 113.5 passer rating. His touchdown rate, 6.3. His interception rate, 1.6, which is significantly down from last year. Last season was 3%. Not afraid to air out the deep ball. His beautiful throws, pretty passes, doesn't matter if it's down the sideline, to the corners, across the field. Drake Maye can literally find the seams and deliver the ball. Now, with that being said, where does that stack up across the NFL? Let's take a look, because the consensus favorite seems to be Matt Stafford. Now, granted, Matt Stafford did lead the NFL with passing yards, 4,707. Now, granted, he also had one of the best offensive lines in front of him. And his pass catchers does help when you have Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, right? Well, you go a little further. Nobody had a better completion percentage than Drake Maye at 72%. As for Stafford, Stafford's kind of down at the bottom at 65%. Nobody averaged more yards than Drake Maye. Drake Maye averaged 8.9. His average yards per game was 4th most in the league, behind Prescott, Goff, and Stafford did average the most. So Stafford did have him beaten touchdowns, but nobody had a better passer rating than Drake Maye with 113.5, which I think that does matter. And when it came to interception rate, Drake Maye was one of the best too. Definitely in the top 10 in that regard. Drake Maye really was one of the best. And if you really do break it down, the Patriots do not have some of the top pass catchers in the league. When you look at the overall statistics for the wide receivers this year, they had Stephon Diggs. He had 1,000 yards. And then after that, nothing crazy. The wide receiver position did not produce a lot. I mean, the next closest one for a wide receiver is at 551. So Drake Maye did great with what he had to work with. But to have a 1,000-yard receiver is pretty impressive. But what's also impressive is what Drake Maye did in year 2. Because a lot of what he did this season was very reminiscent to the legendary Tom Brady. Tom Brady, as we know, is one of the most legendary quarterbacks to ever play the game of football, especially for the New England Patriots, defining an era of winning. And if you really split his career in 2, that's basically 2 Hall of Fame careers encapsulated into one. But when you look at some of the things that Drake Maye did this year, it's remarkable. Like, for example, he had the league best 72% completion rating. That shattered what Tom Brady did for his career in 2007 at 68.9%. Drake Maye also set the franchise single game record, 91.3 completion percentage. That's remarkable. That is remarkable. And then you look, because that record too also towered Brady's. Brady's single game completion rating was at 88.5. And then you look too at the first 18 career games between Maye and Brady. Drake Maye, 3,527 yards, 22 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a 68.8 completion rating. Tom Brady, 3,412 yards, 23 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, 64.5% completion rating. That's crazy to think about. Again, I'm not saying that Drake Maye is better than Tom Brady, because you know what? Until the Patriots start winning Super Bowls, that's hard. Tom Brady is without a doubt one of the most clutch quarterbacks ever. In my opinion, he is the greatest quarterback to ever play. But what the Patriots do have is a gem on their hands in Drake Maye, a player that's truly blossomed and ascended into year 2. And he is not just meeting the expectations of himself as a player, he's delivering on them. And he's helped lead this team to the postseason. They have a good defense, but I don't think any of this is possible without the play of Drake Maye. And when you're trying to compare to Matthew Stafford, the one thing I want to reference is the fact that Matthew Stafford had the best O-line in football. That offensive line was great. They hardly allowed pressure. And when you have an offensive line like that in front of you, it allows you to have more time in the pocket, make plays. Drake Maye was able to make plays without having that type of a line. He got sacked the most in football, which is not great, in my opinion. So for him to do that with what he had in front of him speaks volumes to who he is. And this is a team that's in the playoffs, and that should not go unnoticed. And he's been one of the best quarterbacks of football and has performed like it. And given what he's having to work with, stands volumes. And when you really want to compare, Drake Maye actually has the upper leg on Matthew Stafford. They both played equal games. When you look at completion percentage, Drake Maye is the leader. When you look at the yards, sure, Stafford has more yards, obviously more yards per game. The touchdowns, they both have thrown the same interceptions. But you look at the completion rating, the passer rating, 113.5. Drake Maye also ran the ball. He ran the ball for 450 yards, averaging 4.4 yards per attempt. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. That's huge. And they both made the Pro Bowl. I think it's very, very even, but at the same time, I do think Drake Maye did just as much, if not more, with less to work with. And given the turnaround, like everybody expected the Rams to be good, but the New England Patriots rising to the occasion and literally making the postseason, having the second best record in the AFC after a downturn of a year where they ended up having the 4th overall pick is pretty remarkable. And it all starts with Drake Maye. Drake Maye for MVP.